This isn't a movie trailer, it's real. Official US military footage released by the White House shows a drone strike in the Caribbean. A speedboat allegedly carrying drugs was erased in a single strike. And for the first time in history, a sitting president has authorized lethal military force against a civilian vessel. And that was just the beginning.
Weeks ago, the Trump administration opened a new front in the war on drugs. In a matter of days, Coast Guard cutters surged into the Caribbean, new surveillance drones took to the skies, and interdiction forces seized record hauls of cocaine and marijuana. One vessel alone captured more than 76,000 pounds of narcotics.
Here's how we got here. The administration reclassified several Latin American cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, and that label, which is normally used for organizations like ISIS or Al-Qaeda, unlocked military authority. That changed the mission from arrest and prosecution to track and eliminate.
Our country is being poisoned from within by the drugs and by all of the other crime that's taking place. The drug cartels are waging war in America, and it's now time for America to wage war on the cartels.
Despite the White House insisting that these strikes are focused on the drug trade, there seems to be a more persistent focus on Venezuela's leader.
The Maduro regime is not the legitimate government of Venezuela. It is a narco-terror cartel. In Maduro, it is the view of this administration, is not a legitimate president. He is a fugitive head of this cartel who has been indicted in the United States for trafficking drugs into the country.
Venezuela's authoritarian president, Nicolas Maduro, sees these strikes not as drug interdiction, but as an act of war. He's actually accused the U.S. of regime change in disguise and even warned Trump personally.
Mr. President, Donald Trump, usted tiene que cuidarse porque Marco Rubio quiere manchar sus manos de sangre.
Soon after, Venezuelan F-16s buzzed a U.S. destroyer in international waters. And a dangerous game of chicken had begun.
But to understand this moment, you have to rewind.
Say yes to your life. And when it comes to drugs and alcohol, just say no.
The U.S. has been here before, chasing the drug trade for decades. The drug trade has always been like water. Block one path, it carves another. And despite billions spent, experts say interdictions don't stop drugs. They just make cartels more innovative and more violent.
Interdiction doesn't work because these drug cartels, what they do is they know they're going to lose, 2% of their cargo. They bake it into their economics. What will stop them is when you blow them up, when you get rid of them.
So what pushed the administration to leap from arrests to airstrikes? The numbers tell the story. A Department of Homeland Security audit found the Coast Guard repeatedly missing its interdiction targets. And yet, in August 2025, one Coast Guard cutter pulled into Port Everglades with a record offload. Over 76,000 pounds of cocaine and marijuana, seized from multiple busts. The contradiction is striking. Record seizures, but also record flow. A flood, not control. To the administration, it proved interdiction wasn't working. If the tide couldn't be stemmed with arrests, then force would have to escalate.
But the escalation comes with a cost. By firing missiles instead of making arrests, the U.S. is crossing a new line from law enforcement into something that looks a lot like war.
And we've recently begun using the supreme power of the United States military to destroy Venezuelan terrorists and trafficking networks led by Nicolas Maduro. To every terrorist thug smuggling poisonous drugs into the United States of America, please be warned that we will blow you out of existence. That's what we're doing. We have no choice.
And here's where the story shifts. Because some analysts argue this isn't really about cocaine shipments at all. The kind of firepower the U.S. is deploying, Tomahawk-equipped destroyers,
He needs some milk!
F-35s, nuclear subs, seems wildly disproportionate for chasing smugglers in speedboats.
The real target is Maduro himself. It's about intimidation, putting military pressure on his government under the banner of fighting drugs.
And here's the irony. Even as Washington and Caracas trade threats, they're still doing business together. The U.S. eased sanctions so Chevron could import Venezuelan oil, an economic lifeline for a collapsing nation. At the same time, deportation flights back to Venezuela require direct coordination between the two governments.
So both leaders are really sort of exploiting this tension for their own gain. For Trump, it's a chance to look tough on the cartels without committing ground troops. And for Maduro, it's a chance to rally his people by pointing to a foreign enemy.
But history shows militarized crackdowns don't end the drug trade. They force it to evolve. Cartels adapt, roots shift, networks grow new limbs. And one misstep could turn political theater into a full-scale conflict.
But the question that no one can answer is this. If Maduro's regime collapses, what comes next? Venezuela is already gutted by hyperinflation and economic collapse, and America's track record with rebuilding nations is complicated. It's expensive and messy, to say the least. So victory for the US in Venezuela may actually be the start of a much bigger nightmare. Thank you for watching. I am hoping to do more video essays like this focused on topics that I'm interested in, from geopolitics to news that might be moving the markets. And so please expect more. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button. And if you have thoughts on this video, please throw them in the comments below. I would love